Yo, what's up, Ghost here, and today I'm bringing you guys another comparison video between the MP-40 and Owen gun. Now, these two SMGs, personally, I consider to be the best SMGs at the moment, even better than PPSH and Tommy gun, as you guys can see why in this video. But specifically, the MP-40 has been getting a lot of attention recently. It's been being considered the best SMG in the game right now, for good reason too, because that class setup that everyone's using, man, that gun really does hit different. But the Owen gun is another SMG that, in my opinion, is somewhat underrated, because it has gotten attention, but a lot of people are not using it that much. Like, some people have, they're aware of it, but they're not using it, even though the gun is really, really good. I don't know why that may be, but today we're gonna explore the possibilities of why that even might be happening. But yeah, man, with that being said, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000. We're about 120, a little bit less now, subs away from the big 2K. Also, man, if you guys can do me a favor, follow me over my Twitch channel. I try to stream every other day when I'm not working, and I've been putting in work over there, running that as well. And yeah, with that being said, though, let's get into the comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Owen gun, which you guys can see here, man, is kind of like a hook pattern. I mean, not fully a hook, but I mean, this is our current start curving to the right. It kind of almost makes the hook, to be honest. But regardless, man, that does not really matter, because you're not going to be using this gun for range. You're going to be using this for close range and a little bit of medium range. As you can see here, it's the class setup, no barrel. The no barrel, man, I just don't see where a barrel would be useful for this gun, because again, I don't think there was a barrel that increased fire rate, and even if it did, I mean, look, my class setup is pretty solid. That class setup that I got, or that I made, this is actually one that I made myself. I mean, it probably similar to the ones out there, but I ended up making this to make a video because I was trying to make content for REBIRTH, and I ended up, coming across this weapon because I tried using the Type 100, didn't really like it. Popped on this weapon because I knew it was somewhat decent from the ground, and I mean, I use it, and this gun, I really can't tell you how many times I lost with this gun. I don't think I can recall a time where I straight up lost a one-on-one gunfight with this gun. Like, this gun is that good. However, the one thing that I would say that it lacks in comparison to the MP-40 would be the fire, especially since the MP-40 class setup that I have has a recoil booster. This gun doesn't have. I think maybe the magazine might be the only thing that increases the fire rate, and even then I don't think that's true, because obviously I don't have recoil booster on this weapon. Maybe you could put it on, to be honest, because I don't know, it doesn't have that much recoil right now, so I think you'll be able to put on the recoil booster to obviously make it shoot a lot faster, and even be a little bit closer to the MP-40, because that's the only thing that it would lack in comparison to the MP-40. I think everything else, it's really even close or better than the MP-40, and yet it's not really getting the attention, maybe just because of that fire rate, because if you're not aware, in this game, or specifically like just the new Warzone map, it feels like fire rate is truly the king. Like in Verdansk, I think fire rate did matter, but damage also could shine. But now I really feel like if you could put on a recoil booster and just have a weapon that shoots really, really fast, like, man, it won't matter the damage at that point. It's just straight up fire rate. I saw a lot of weapons so far that have been pretty good, have pretty crazy fire rate, or the attachments always seem to be increasing fire rate. It's just that, that just matters so much right now. Like in something like REBIRTH, I don't really think it matters too much, because people are still using Modern Warfare Cold War weapons, and it's not the craziest thing, but certainly maps for like in the actual normal Warzone map, like that, yeah, I don't know, maybe you would want to use the recoil booster in your own gun, to be honest. I don't know, you don't really, I wouldn't say you need it, but if you want to compete with the MP-40s, possibly. I'm not saying that you need it to compete, but possibly, because again, the recoil booster on the MP-40, takes it another level, and the MP-40 already has a faster fire rate than the Owen gun, so putting on the recoil booster just kind of like it's overkill in that department for both these weapons. And actually, believe it or not, we finally got stats. Shout out True Game Data for all the work they put in. We got stats now, so we can talk about stats. No more just talking out of experience. So we got stats now. So with that being said, let's get into the MP-40 and the statistics. And here we have the recoil pattern for the MP-40, and actually very similar to the Owen gun, but then again, like I mentioned, these guns aren't meant for range. We're using these for close and medium range. Alright, but anyways, man, the first statistic that I want to talk about, which I kind of already briefly covered, is the fire rate for both of these weapons. So for the base guns, this isn't like any attachments, none of that, is just straight no attachment guns. The MP-40 has a 600 RPM, and the Owen gun has a 500 RPM. And to be honest, man, in comparison to the guns that I've covered in the past, it's probably the slowest that we have right now, which is kind of interesting. But then again, these guns do have attachments that increase the fire rate. And this MP-40 specifically, I have a bunch of attachments that increase the fire rate. So it's not just the recoil booster that I have on it. I think it's the magazine, and I think the barrel might be 2 other attachments that increase the fire rate. So this gun is shooting really fast. I'm not gonna give you specific details on what's it called, on how fast it is, because to be honest, I don't really know how to work this website and how to get that stats. But just now, man, obviously you can already tell like the difference between what you saw in that recoil pattern to what you're seeing in these clips. The recoil the difference in fire rate is just right there. Like, it's proof and put it, man. You're seeing it. And trust me, this gun, man, is really good. This class setup, dude, I did snag from a top Warzone player. I saw on his Twitter, and I wanted to use it because, you know, for the sake of the comparison, I don't want to hear lolly and try to figure out how to get class that for this weapon. So I used something that I know is for sure good. And this gun, man, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I think this gun is amazing. And the fire rate truly makes this weapon, though, I'm not gonna lie, because damage-wise, if you take a look at the damage profiles for the Owen gun, for 0 to 17 meters, we have 62 damage to the head, 46 to the neck and chest, and then 42 to the stomach, and then 39 to the extremities. And then for the MP-40 at really close range for 0 to 13 meters, we have 59 damage to the head, 42 damage to the neck, 36 to the chest, 33 to the stomach, and then 30 to the extremities. So obviously we're here in really close range situations. The Owen gun has quite a bit more damage in every aspect of the body over the MP-40. But obviously, man, the fire rate is what saves the MP-40 in these situations anyway. Because, I mean, look, I got a bunch of attachments that increase fire rate. And a lot of you guys out there probably have these same attachments. So, damage is one thing. But, man, if you just shoot faster, it gives the opportunity to compete even if you're under damage. That's why the MAC-10 was always so good. Because even if it was under damage, it just had the fire rate. But anyways, moving on over to the long ranges for this Owen gun for 17 or 22 meters. We have 52 damage to the neck, 39 to the neck, chest, and then 33 to the stomach, and then 30 to the extremities. For the MP-40 at 30 to 16 meters, we have 47 damage to the neck, 33 to the neck, 28 to the chest, 27 to the stomach, 24 to the extremities. And then the last range, which is, you know, over 22 meters. For the Owen gun, we have 34 damage to the head, 25 to the neck, 25 to the chest, 24 to the stomach, and 22 to the extremities. And as you guys see, man, that drop off between 22 meters, or from 17 to 22 to 22 and above, man, that drop off is crazy. Whereas the MP-40 doesn't really receive that drop off because 16 meters and above, we have 41 damage to the head, 29 to the neck, 25 to the chest, 23 to the stomach, and then 21 to the extremity. So the MP-40 at like close to medium range has lower damage than the Owen gun, but kind of gets saved by the fire rate. If you use the fire rate attachment. If you use a base MP-40, then I think the Owen gun is definitely better. Or not the base MP-40, but if you use an MP-40 without fire rate attachments, or maybe just like the recoil booster, you still might not be able to 100% gun Owen gun in certain situations. But the damage drop up on the Owen gun is very severe, as you guys heard, man. From 17 to 22, or just from 0 to 22 meters, it's one thing. And then 22 meters and above, man, the drop up is, it's just, Whereas the MP-40 kind of retains its damage. It's still obviously like not gonna hit the hardest, but it still kind of maintains its damage. I mean, it's actually insane because I have been beaten by MP-40s from range, whereas the Owen gun I know for a fact wouldn't be able to do it because, I mean, well, obviously we know now that the damage drop off on it is absurd. So at long range, man, like, I guess if it came down to it, the MP-40 would for sure win, especially even if you have your fire rate attachments. Like, yeah, this gun at range would definitely beat the Owen gun, but close to medium range, that, you know, that kind of depends on situations and if you're using fire rate attachments, because the Owen gun by far is a lot more powerful in the close to medium range, but MP-40, man, can get bailed out by the fire rate attachments. But then again, Owen gun attachments, you can also put fire rate on that. So, you know, do what you will with this information. For me personally, if I had to pick a weapon right now, give it on my experience and how good I did with each individual weapon. Like, I love the Owen gun. Maybe I do need to try out the recoil booster, so, you know, I could probably use that as my #1 SMG. But this MP-40, man, this thing does not lie, bro. This thing is amazing. The only thing that it doesn't have is the mag capacity that the Owen gun has 72 rounds. This gun only has 45, or my class only has 45, and so That's the one thing I do really miss, because if this MP-40 has 75, or yeah, 75, 72, my god, this gun would be unstoppable. But you know, that's probably why they did it. You know, you can't have guns be completely crazy. But I will say, yeah, I can see fire rate attachments getting nerfed in the future. Those really do make a lot of these Vanguard weapons. I gotta be honest, man. Like, they definitely do. I know a lot of people agree with me on that, and I wouldn't be surprised if fire rate attachments receive a nerf in the near future. They probably already have, but they probably definitely will. But anyways, man, let me know what you guys think about both the two options down in the comment section down below. Which one do you prefer and why? And man, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.